and welcome to this Computer Weekly video. My guest today is Eyad Tachwalli, who is a specialist at Gartner focusing on artificial intelligence. Now, Eyad, I think there's probably 101 questions I could ask you today, but thank you very much for coming on to the show. And I just want to kick things off by asking you how you look at generating value out of generative AI, generating value out of generative AI. What about that?
Thank you so much, Cliff, for having me. So when it comes to how to think about the value that can be generated with generative AI, the first thing that we have to do is to unpack the different ways that we can use AI. So last year during Gartner's IT symposium, which is one of our largest conferences, we introduced a new tool that we called AI Opportunity Radar. Mm-hmm. And within that tool, we defined two types of AI based on how you use them. One part is what we call everyday AI, which is basically you're using AI to help you to do some of the existing tasks that you do on a daily basis, but just to allow you to do them better, faster, cheaper, and sometimes in terms of better quality. Yes. So this is what we call everyday AI. So the type of benefits or the value that you can expect there, it's mainly in terms of productivity gains. Mm-hmm. Now, the other type of AI or the other way that you can use AI is what we call game-changing AI. And this is where you're using AI to create net new things. So if everyday AI is focused on productivity, game-changing AI is focused on creativity. Okay. And you can use it internally within the organization, but also externally. So an example of internally within the organization, think of pharmaceutical company. Think of how they're using AI to discover a new molecule, to come up with a new drug for diseases like Alzheimer or cancer. So you can imagine the potential huge value there in terms of enabling the mission of the organization and also direct market level benefits and also financial benefits.
Okay, so what you're saying then is that these things are brand new use cases. I'm trying to think of an example of where technology has done that in the past. I remember when the oil companies went and reused their data to go and figure out where else they could drill for oil, for instance. And, they already had all this information, all this data, and then they just reanalyzed it and came up with a brand new use case, for this stuff. But just going on a little bit. So I mean, you've got these two types of opportunities. One's longer term, or has the biggest benefit. But when you look at cost, there's going to be potentially a big difference between the things that are easy to do today and the things that are transformational. How does an IT leader go about considering where to prioritize those costs and what to focus on?
Absolutely. So there are multiple factors that can determine the cost of your Gen AI investments. It's not an easy question because there are a lot of variables. It depends on the use cases. It depends on the industry. It depends on the risk appetite of the organization. But typically, organizations, they will see themselves investing in different type of portfolios. I would say one part of the portfolio of investment is related to quick wins. This is when you're using off-the-shelf capabilities, existing solutions like your Copilot, Gemini, ChatGPT, etc. Investing there in terms of cost is somehow easy to calculate because it will be in a form of how many users are planning to use it versus the cost of the licenses. So it's somehow a fixed cost that can be calculated, but also the value of these use cases is quite limited. Now, it starts to get more difficult in cost calculation as you go into more differentiating use cases. So another example is when you're using generative AI capabilities, using existing capabilities provided by vendors, trained on public data, but you're using not only this existing capability based on the public data, but also you're using your own organizational data.
Yes.
Now, this will comes with more complexity in terms of how you pursue the costing of the solutions because you have the additive cost, which is the infrastructure, for example, the cost of the model, the cost of the data, the application development, but you start to have some multiplicative cost elements that can blow up your costs in terms of how are the costing model of these specific capability. Is it token-based pricing? And if it's a token-based pricing, how are we inferencing the model in terms of the length of the prompts, the iteration that we're doing with the model to give you the right answers, and also the number of users. These multiplicative cost elements can really blow up your cost by 5 to 10 times. And so it's becoming, your cost model becomes very variable and it's very difficult to predict. And here we recommend clients in terms of try to simulate lower bound and upper bound in terms of your potential cost elements and decide when is the right threshold to maybe stop your solution if the cost is exceeding the potential value.
Okay.
And the last one is the differentiating use cases.
Yes.
And this is when you're trying to build your own model or fine-tune an existing model. These type of costs should be approached in terms of similar to how you invest in a venture, right? First of all, is it right for us? It's not right for many clients.
Yes.
Only few clients are investing there. So it should be a strategic direction of the organization if this is an area that we need to pursue because the cost is high and also risk is high.
Okay. So there's a lot of pressure on IT leaders to do something with AI. There's also the fact that, businesses, because many of these products are available as subscription, as a service, one can easily get hold of it. A line of business managers can easily get hold of this stuff. And then it gets a bit out of hand. You get sort of shadow IT, shadow AI almost. How can a senior IT decision maker, a CIO, an IT director, really take control of the AI strategy and be able to demonstrate the value that the IT function can deliver to these AI projects?
This is a great question. So there are multiple elements to this question. So first of all, the conversation should start at the executive management team in terms of defining AI ambition. So when it comes to generative AI, the same conversation. Are we trying to pursue everyday AI or game-changing AI and define how are we going to approach it as an organization? The second step is before you start to invest big in some of these opportunities, you need to experiment big.
Okay.
Now, you need to keep in mind some organizations restrict the use of generative AI within their organization. But you need to keep in mind, even if you're restricting it, maybe people are using it using their personal devices. So a better approach is to provide guidelines in terms of how they should use it. What's our policy in terms of using generative AI? This is the things that you can do, and this is the things that you cannot do. And maybe part of this experimentation phase that you're allowing your employees to experiment, to really get flavor of these opportunities and build trust with this new technology, give them a safe environment.
Okay.
Give them an environment where it's enterprise grade, where you implement all your security, all architecture, all the guardrails to make the experimentation for employees in a safe environment. From there, you start to identify potential use cases, you prioritize them, you link them to the business priorities, and start to scale some of the business priorities. Now, it's very important during this ideation, experimentation, piloting, and moving to scale is to link your approach to business priorities. Now, one common pitfall, one common mistake that we're seeing from our clients is that they think of generative AI as a silver bullet. Whatever opportunity, whatever business problem, whatever thing that we're trying to do, generative AI will resolve it for us. Yes, generative AI has a huge value, has a huge potential, but it's not a silver bullet for everything. Sometimes you have simple solutions to some of your existing business problems. And this is the education that you need to do for the enterprise.
Exactly. It's one of these things that I keep thinking about. We get so many bits of research, coming across an email that says, it'll improve efficiency. Generative AI will improve efficiency. And I say, well, surely these organizations must know, if they've been running for so long, how to be efficient. There are some things that, low-hanging fruit, you can easily change things. But to say, it's going to generate a massive amount of efficiency, well, what have you been doing wrong for all the years you've been operating? I mean, I don't know. It's a silver bullet thing, it's not magic, right? It's the icing on the cake, I would say.
100%. I totally agree with you. And even with the simple use cases, one thing that we're seeing this year that's different from last year, because especially this year, we're seeing more clients moving beyond pilot to really scaling their implementations. So even with some of the easy use cases using off-the-shelf productivity tools, clients now they're saying that it's difficult. It's not easy to get the productivity gains that they thought that they will get.
Yes.
Because a lot of these things will require behavioral shift.
Yes.
I
yes.
hear it over and over from CIOs telling me, Iyad, we implemented these tools that can help us to transcribe meetings and summarize meeting minutes, but
Sure, yeah.
people are not using it. It's not because resisting it. They are forgetting about it. It's 15 minutes into writing a meeting minutes or a meeting summary to remember, oh, we have this tool that can help us to summarize meeting minutes.
Yes.
So even for these easy, quick wins, it takes a lot of efforts. There are a lot of factors that I can zoom into if you want me that can help you to improve your chance in terms of unlocking the productivity gains. But what we're hearing from clients is not easy, even for the simple, quick wins.
Okay, well, yeah, thank you ever so much for taking part in today's video. And thank you very much for tuning in. Goodbye.